Christmas in January. We're really excited to be here. We are here to talk about the best of Hallmark for 2021, Christmas, Countdown to Christmas, and Miracles of Christmas. Going to be super fun. And I'm film critic Rachel Wagner, and Jess is here.
Hello, everybody.
And Anne is here.
Hey, y'all.
Hope you both had great Christmases with your families.
Yes.
It was good. Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice. I got to go to Disneyland, so it was pretty fun.
Yeah, that's fun.
Exciting.
That was my prize for getting through the Christmas season.
That's a good prize. Yeah, that's worth it.
I recommend it. Yeah, so we're going to each have a top 10. And I don't know if either of you want to kind of explain your process or maybe mention if you have an honorable mention that you want to share.
I thought it was really hard to rank this year. I had so much trouble. I've redone my list quite a few times already because initially I ranked them as I watched them, but I felt like it was hard because you had seen some like 2 months prior. And I'm like, is it better than that one? I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I ended up making my list more of like what was memorable to me or what kind of stood out, like just looking back at my list. So I kind of rearranged it again. And I'm still not sure that it's quite where I want it. I feel like a lot of these are interchangeable. So we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. And also like when the season first starts, you're so excited because it's like, oh, Christmas movies. Yeah. And so then by the end, you're a little bit less enthused, but it's kind of going back and forth about, which one is really my favorite. And so I really tried to think, which one am I most anxious to watch again? And also I did allow myself to be influenced by the experience of the podcast, because I think that's a fair consideration. Yeah. So pretty much almost every single one of my picks had some kind of interview or something involved that made it a special experience for me. So I had that kind of weird factor. But Anne, what about you?
I think for me, what I figured out is I do it kind of based on like how much I want to rewatch it, kind of like you were saying, like, so my top ones are like ones that I would like, I want to rewatch, like in Christmas in July, I'll probably rewatch. Yeah. And then I really struggle, just so everyone knows, putting Miracles of Christmas and Hallmark Channel into one list. It's hard because Miracles of Christmas, I'm not like itching to rewatch it because it's more emotional.
Right.
And so, but I was like, okay, these couple of Miracles of Christmas, they deserve to be in a top 10. So I was like, let me just find a way to put them in here. And so that's how I did it, because it was just too hard for me to do that. But yes, I think that a lot of these will be not surprising, but I think some of them will be surprising, specific to me, things that I like. But then other ones will be probably that are in a lot of people's top 10. So
yeah, the one honorable mention I want to have is Crashing Through the Snow. It wasn't technically part of Countdown to Christmas. It was from Christmas in July, but I really did enjoy it. And it had like some real chemistry, I think, and some unusual amount of like affection and stuff, which I always am a fan of. And I don't know, it had a sense of humor to it that I liked. So that one it is an honorable mention for me. But let's dive in and give our number 10s. And for me, my number 10, it was definitely the biggest surprise of the year. I wasn't expecting to enjoy it as much as I did. It's A Royal Queen's Christmas. And this one, I just thought it was so funny. I liked all of the Queen's stuff. And I liked the chemistry so much between Julianne Morris and Megan Park. I think I gave us a coal in the preview because it just didn't sound great as, another royal movie, but it just shows when you have good writing and Lee Friedlander's a good director, when you've got all those things going, then it can work. And it did work. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it had some really fun moments, like when he takes the scooter all the way to Queen so he can be with her. And I liked this little assistant who, drives the subway for the first time. And
yeah, that was funny.
That was really fun. And I thought that there was actually some nuance with her cousin trying to figure out, should she get engaged, get married? I guess they're already engaged, but they'd engaged for like 3 years, which should they get married? I thought that was kind of a different conflict than you typically see. I just really enjoyed it. And so it had to be number 10.
Very nice.
Yeah. So Jess, what do you have at number 10?
I have 'Tis the Season to Be Merry as my number 10, which I think other people probably put a little bit higher. But yeah, I thought it was really fun. I thought Travis and Rachel were a really cute pairing together. For this one, I appreciated the honesty and that she kind of told the truth about her book, that it wasn't real and it wasn't this whole big lie that was like held throughout, because that's why I had a really hard time getting into Christmas at Castle Heart, because I got anxiety about the lie getting so big. So I appreciated about this one, and I thought it was pretty cute.
Yeah, it's higher up on my list. This was really good. I agree. Very funny too. Anne, what about you? What's your number 10?
I thought it was going to be controversial, but my number 10 is the same as you, Rachel, A Royal Queen's Christmas.
Nice.
I think a lot of people didn't like this movie as much as you and I seem to do. But I just think that every time those two were on screen together, it was magic. They had such good chemistry. I do think that she found out too quickly that he was a prince, and there was about 20 minutes of wasted time when his parents were trying to convince him and the other girl, blah, blah, blah. That could have done without that. But every time they were on screen together, I liked her and her cousin's chemistry as well. And the ending, it was so predictable, but it was so good. I don't even care because it was so sweet. I didn't even care. It was just adorable.
I love them both having those piano ornaments.
Yeah,
it was so
that
good.
was pretty cute.
It was really,
and you knew he's gonna be there when she opens her eyes. But
of course,
it's just so magical. I was like, I don't even care. This is the most predictable thing. It works. It's good. They just have really, really good chemistry, and I had fun with the accents. I was all about it. I was like, these people from Queens probably offended they watch this. To me, it's funny, so I had fun with it. So I just thought it was really cute, and I look forward to watching it again.
Me too. And like I said, I did not expect. I thought, oh, it's another royal movie, but I don't know. If you with good execution, good writing, and a good chemistry, then it can work. It really can. I'm with you there. So my number 9 is one that I originally went to Hallmark Movies now, so I think it kind of went under the radar, but it's Sugar Plum Twist. And I just really liked this one a lot. I loved the podcast with Lila Fitzgerald, who's an actual, ballerina. She's a professional dancer. And I think she made some really interesting points about like problems with, racism and cultural sensitivity in the ballet world. And we had like a really good discussion. But I thought this movie had all of that, plus the inclusion with or Puerto Rican family, but then it also was just like a fun dance movie too. And wasn't the most like Christmassy movie, but it was like very nutcrackery, which is Christmas, so it's fine. And I really liked the cast. I mean, I'm not a dance pro, so everything looked good to me, but I heard some people were like, oh, the dancing didn't look good. I don't know, looked good to me.
We're not dancers here.
No.
And I really like dance movies. I'm a sucker for them. So I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was good. And I liked the relationship that they had with his name was Mateo in the with the Vivi, the dancer, I think, or Natalia. I forget which one as well. Yeah. But anyway, I really liked that. And in the relationship between the two girls, the one that wanted to be the dancer and the one that wanted to be the choreographer. And if you didn't get a chance to listen to the podcast with Lila, I thought it was a really good one and it was really fun. So that's why I have it at number 9.
That one just missed my top 10. I really liked it too. I loved like the cultural aspect of it and them like bringing in something different to the ballet. And
yeah, it was different. And I don't know, I just feel like it went under the radar because it was on Hallmark Movies now. Yeah. Did you get to see that one, Anne?
I did. Yeah.
Jess, what is your number 9?
My number 9 is Time for Them to Come Home for Christmas. I always like a movie that's got a little bit of a mystery aspect to it, which this one did because she loses her memory, and it had some like good emotional aspects as well. And I thought they were a really solid pairing, the two of them, Jesse and Brendan. And I love the Allison Sweeney cameo from like the previous movie. So
that was fun. Yeah. It was definitely the best of those time for whatever.
Yeah, I think so.
I think I liked Allison's the best so far.
That one was emotional. It was probably more emotional. Yeah.
I liked it. I also really like the
Yeah.
emotional ones
Yeah.
because I don't cry, so it's okay.
Yeah. The only thing in that movie that was just like, I thought that the way they had built it up, I thought, is she having an affair with this person? The
Yeah,
way,
that
but you
was
knew they
weird.
weren't because
Yeah,
it was
it was
Hallmark.
weird.
But like the when Lisa DeRuse comes up to her and is like, "How dare you're here? I knew you would show up here." And I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, it was like very dramatic. Like,
Yes.
whoa.
That part was a little overdone.
I was like, "What is happening?" But yeah, it won me over in the end. It really did. But Anne, what is your number 9?
My number 9 is Christmas Promise. I like this movie. I think that they have good chemistry and it has some fun moments. Even though it is, the beginning is pretty intensely serious and sad. But it lightens up, and I like, they're like playing, like he's like pretending to be a pirate in the store. Then that crazy kiss scenario. So it had some fun stuff in there, and they have good chemistry. And I thought that it worked, and that it was sweet. And I love a man who could fix things, so that's always good.
Man with many jobs. It was a good example of the man with many jobs. Very good. All right, number 8 for me is Christmas Sale. I really enjoyed this one. I thought that they had really nice chemistry, and I'm just so excited for Katie Sackhoff to be in the Hallmark family. I think she's such a great fit for these movies. And I thought that both her and Patrick Swayze were just so charming. And I liked everything with the father, Terry Quinn. I thought that was good. And the little girl was cute. And I liked the whole boat parade was well done. And the whole reveal of the kind of slideshow on the boat. And that was good. And the kind of well, not really proposal, but the ending where they're going to be together, it was just very sweet, and I really enjoyed it. And I really enjoyed having both of them, Patrick and Katie, on the podcast. They were great, and so that kind of gives it a little bit of a bump as well. But that one I had to put at 8. Yeah. So Jess, what about you? What is your number 8?
My number 8 is the Santa Stakeout. This one is more of an obvious mystery, so obviously I loved it. And I mean, Tamara and Paul together were just fantastic. It was so funny. I just thought they did a really good job together. And I always enjoyed the enemies to lovers storyline, so I thought it was really good.
What about you, Anne?
My number 8 is Christmas in My Heart. This movie is special to me because I'm biracial. My mom is Black, my dad's white. I played the violin. That was the instrument I chose when I was growing up to play. So I had a lot of just personal investment in this movie, and it just warmed my heart to see it on Hallmark Channel, to see the conversation about Black hair. I thought Shirley Ralph is so good in this movie. She just, every time she's talking, you feel like she's talking to you, because she's just, I don't know, she's so just, I don't even know the right word. She's just so good at being like this heartwarming, grandmother that's kind of looking after both of them. And I think their chemistry is just okay. I don't think it's anything great, anything spectacular, but everything else in the movie works so well for me that I just really loved it, really connected with it. I got to talk about it with my mom, and it meant a lot to her as well. And so I really enjoyed it, and I'm just so glad that something like this was out there this season, that I could feel that connection with.
Yeah, it had a really special script. It was a tough cut for me, but I really did enjoy it. And I agree with you about Shirley Ralph. She was so good in it. Very good. All right, my number 7 is Santa Stakeout. Yeah, this one was really fun. I mean, it felt at times almost like a play. because it was just basically like two houses the whole time. but,
Yeah.
but it worked because the script was funny and the chemistry was there, and it was just something different and new that they haven't really ever done before on Hallmark Channel. And there were a couple mysteries on all the different channels this last season, which was fun. I really enjoyed the Christmas Thief over on Ion. That one was wacky, where the Santa is the one under investigation even more than this. Anyway, but this was fun, and I love Paul, and he was great to have. He was our first interview we ever had, period, on the podcast as far as a celebrity. And he's been on our show 7 times, including one of the first for this season. And so that's always something to look forward to. And number 7 for me. What about you, Jess?
Number 7 for me was Christmas in My Heart. So I also really enjoyed this one. It was from the first weekend. I thought it really stood out. I loved Heather Hemmons. I've never seen her before, so she really carried this movie a lot for me, I think. And I thought she was a pretty good pairing with Luke. And like Anne said, like the diversity was really good, and I think it was a good example of what Hallmark tried to do this year. It wasn't just like diversity for diversity's sake. They had authentic conversations, like about the hair, and I think the little girl even talked about like nobody looking like her who did what she did and things like that. So I really appreciated that they took it a step farther than just like, oh, let's have a character who looks a little different or whatever.
Yeah, I think Sugar Plum Twist and Christmas in My Heart were really good examples of how to do the inclusion and diversity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very good. All right, what is your number 7, Anne?
Mine is Kiss Before Christmas. I think this movie is just really well done. I did watch it with my parents, and I told them, I was like, you guys will like this movie. It's a Wonderful Life vibes. They really enjoyed it. So I watched it 2 times, one time with them, which obviously influenced it, but I already liked it before that. But James and Terry have great chemistry. James just does a really good job, and it's just good. I just think it's done so well, and it's like convincing, like how his character changes, like you believe it. And I think that's what makes it good. And I like the adopted sibling
That was good.
The son daughter they adopted. I wasn't expecting that. I was like, oh well, this is a nice twist in here as well. So it was just good. I really liked it.
And after our episode that we did on Kiss Before Christmas, James Denton emailed us and thanked us for the episode, which was so cool.
It's very cool.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, James. Yeah. And it has Mary Lou Henner in it, who we love.
Yes.
Great. Okay, my number 6 is A Dickens of a Holiday. And I really, this was like a huge love for community theater, which is a big love of mine. And the whole, just spirit of making the production work and them getting it all together. I loved that. I loved seeing like little clips of Christmas Carol, which is something I love, Christmas Carol. I thought that Palaha was hilarious, with his whole like humbug, coming into the thing. And I thought that he and Brooke had nice chemistry. And there were things that I was like, oh, I didn't expect him to kind of go that way, especially with like her encouraging him to take the role, which was, I was expecting her to be all kind of pouty, which was surprising. The thing with his brother, it wasn't my favorite, but overall, I still just liked it. I thought the dancing scene was really good. Mm-hmm. And I had a fun time talking about it with Alonzo on the podcast. So that was memorable. And so number 6 for me. What about you, Jess?
My number 6 was A Godwink Christmas, Miracle of Love. So the Godwink movies, I've seen them all, have been pretty hit or miss for me. So I was pretty surprised that I actually really enjoyed this one. I think what really worked for me was the themes. I just really connected with the themes of like giving, and it felt maybe more authentic than some of the other times we see that theme. So I really enjoyed all those different aspects in them helping the family and making some like really good connections there. The only one thing I wish was she had dumped her boyfriend sooner. I think she strung him along a little too long.
Agreed. And we had a lot of fun, you and I, with Squire and Louise.
Yes,
that was really
I think that's why I liked it even more.
Yeah.
They have the hashtag squeeze.
Yeah.
That killed me.
And it was so much better than last year's God Wink movie, in my opinion. At least.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, last year's was not good.
It was bad. Just living next to somebody is not a God Wink. We live in the same city. What? But yeah, no, I did like that a lot more than I thought I would, for sure. So what about you, Anne? What's your number 6?
My number 6 is Holiday in Harlem. I really like this movie. I don't know, this might sound weird, but this movie feels like a movie for Black people. Like it really felt like someone Black wrote this movie for Black people. And I don't think I've ever, Christmas in Harmony, even I wouldn't even say is the same. I think it's a lot better than most of the Black Hallmark movies, but this one, it felt authentic. I'm like, these are stuff Black people really would do in a community. Like, I don't know. I just felt like it just felt real to me. And so I just really appreciated that. And I love that, we had a leading lady who is not a size 2 like all the other leading ladies, because most people in America and in the world are not that small, including myself. So I like that. I thought she did a great job. I loved the montage, the macaroni and cheese montage, like that just was special to me. That warmed my heart. I did watch this with my mom and she also really enjoyed it. So that of course has an effect. But I just thought they did it really well. It was executed well.
Yeah, that one was a lot of fun, and I liked. I think it's Tina Lifford. I think is the actress who played the grandma. She was good.
She was good. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just want to someday be invited to a jamboree. That's why I got introduced this year. Was to I didn't know Christmas jamborees were a thing, but I want to go.
Yeah, it seemed really fun.
Yeah, I know.
I would love it.
Yeah.
Ho, ho, ho. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
Okay, my number 5 is An Unexpected Christmas is number 5. I really enjoyed this one. It was very well done, good chemistry between Tyler and Bethany. Not, that was expected. I love the fake fiance trope. I like the fact that when there was the reveal, they didn't waste time with, how did you lie to me? And they just moved on really quick. I appreciate it. I like the family. They were fun. The only little nitpick I have with the movie is that I felt like the ending was kind of rushed. And that he went from like being super anxious and nervous about being in this relationship to like, wanting to get married and being with it like pretty quick. So that would be my only nitpick, but I still overall enjoyed it. It was really solid. So, and it was fun to have Tyler on the podcast and have Paul on since he wrote it. So that helps as well, but I have it at number 5. What about you, Jess?
My number 5 is The Dickens of a Holiday. So I also really enjoyed this one. Like you said, they had really great chemistry. And I really liked the transition of his character. Like they made him more likable. Sometimes they wait too long to make somebody likable. So I thought they had a good transition for him. And I really just enjoyed, I've only seen like one adaptation of A Christmas Carol. I know the story, but I really haven't seen too many things. But I really liked the parts that they incorporated and how it kind of mirrored his journey. And like when he was on the stage, like screaming, "Let the boy live." Like it was just such an emotionally powerful scene. So I thought they did those parts very, very well. So yeah, it's my number 5.
What about you, Anne? What's your number 5?
I was so shocked that I liked this movie, but obviously I really liked it. One December Night. I was so shocked that I liked this movie this much, but everyone in this movie has chemistry, especially Brett Dalton and Eloise Munford. Wow. Like neither of them have ever had better chemistry with anyone in any other movie they ever done with Hallmark. Like they had great chemistry. That kiss was really, really good. And I thought this movie deals with different issues we don't usually see, you know, Alzheimer's and, you know, I guess alcoholism. And I thought they did it, you know, fairly well for, you know, being new territory for them for that kind of thing. It is doing a lot of things in this movie, but I think it juggles everything pretty well. Of course, I would prefer to see more of Brett Dalton and Eloise Munford, but it was, you know, it was an ensemble movie. But I thought it was well done altogether.
Yeah, it had a really solid script. I mean, the conflict made total sense. That the reason why one had cut the other out of the deal was because he was an alcoholic and he was going to, you know, ruin their legacy and make bad decisions. So they saw it as a protection, whereas the other saw it as a betrayal, and you're stealing all of my music and everything that I've done. And so like his being upset about it made sense, but then the other person made sense too. And
exactly.
So that was very well done. The conflict, I agree. And that kiss, it was so good.
It was very good.
Very good. All right. Well, my number 4 is 'Tis the Season to Be Merry. And I thought this one was really funny. It really went back to sort of your screwball comedy kind of days with, you know, her telling this big lie, and it just things getting more and more and more and more crazy by the minute. And it kind of reminded me of Christmas in Connecticut. So it was the old school from the 40s, that kind of a thing. I mean, and I loved like the meet cute with a little bit of racy for Hallmark, which I'm a fan of.
That was racy.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was like, whoa, hello.
And he was like, thank you, Travis, very much. But I actually know Anne wasn't a big fan, but I really thought the whole scene where she goes on the date with James and then the others are sort of spying to figure out what's going on. I thought that was actually really funny. And it turns out he's just trying to get more information about Darlene. And I liked the fact that they had 3 couples by the end of it with Sonia and the boss Joe, and then Darlene and James, and then her, and obviously and Adam. And I thought that was really good. And I think Rachel Lee Cook, this is maybe my favorite movie of hers for Hallmark that she's done. I thought she was really funny and just enjoyable. So, and I got to interview Jen Kirkman, which when this airs, it will have aired on Monday. So we'll all hopefully heard that. And she's just hilarious and so fun. So welcome to Hallmark, Jen. I hope you write many more funny movies.
Yeah. She's good.
And you know, it was the last movie that Hallmark debuted. So the fact that it made the list, it's pretty impressive.
That's saying a lot. That's pretty hard to do, to come in last and then get all the way ranked like that. So
yeah. So Jess, what is your number 4?
My number 4 is Christmas Promise. I thought it was just a very well done movie dealing with, you know, heavier emotional topics like grief. And I think I may have teared up on this one. I can't remember. There was like 1 or 2 that actually did kind of get me. So I think this is one of them.
That doesn't happen.
I know. Jess does not cry.
So
me on Public Waterworks.
Exactly. I'm a weeper. So
like
yeah.
Yes, if you get me crying, you know you did your job right.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I really love the comedy from his character. I thought that was like the needed comic relief to keep it from being like too heavy. And I liked her little like group of friends, and they just kind of had a really nice chemistry as a friend group too, I think.
Yeah. What about you, Anne? Number 4.
My number 4 is Next Up Christmas. I really like this movie. Yeah. I like Lindsay Fonseca a lot. saw her years ago in something completely different, and then in Turner and Hooch, and then here. And I think she just does a great job. I just love the energy she brings. And I think she's, hopefully going to do more Hallmark. And I thought her and Ben had such good chemistry. My only nitpick was like, could we have more scenes with them? Because their chemistry was so good. I was like, Tyler, bye-bye. Like, nobody cares about you. Because their chemistry was so good. And he was more like nerdy. So I appreciated that, like, he was more nerdy leading man, but also like just so cute and like charming. And I like that combination that he had. And Christopher Lloyd does a great job in this movie. And it's not just about her fixing her love life. Like, she's going back and she's noticing like nothing is like I thought. Like, now I see my parents are, being distant from each other. Now I realize my sister and I didn't have a good relationship. And so she fixed several things. It wasn't all just about love, which I appreciated. And I just loved it. I thought the ending was it was understated to me. I could have done with something big and crazy, but overall, I had fun with it and I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I did too. It was a tough cut. I enjoyed it very much. I love time travel stories, so it was a good one. All right, for me, for number 3 is A Very Merry Bridesmaid, and I guess it doesn't seem like most people enjoyed this as much as I did, but I really I thought it was so well written. I thought that they took something which normally is a huge snore to me, is the party planning, and they made all the party planning scenes work because they were all about the conversation the characters were having and building the characters. And I thought it was a really rich movie as far as even like side characters getting a lot of development, like her brother, the brother's fiance. She could have been a really annoying character, but she wasn't. She was reasonable. And I just loved the whole wedding. I thought it was great, when they acknowledge her birthday and tell how much they love her, and like her conflict of feeling kind of paralyzed because she doesn't want, every time she tried to go on a vacation, her father had a heart attack. Like, what would you think? So she'd be kind of stuck there. And
that actually made sense. And I'm sure that's something real people deal with. If after their person has a heart attack, then they're worried about someone having another one. And
yeah.
I mean,
And is anybody going to be there? And I just loved their relationship. I thought it was really good. I thought they had great chemistry. I just thought it was so well done. And Tracy Andreen is the queen. So writing this movie, she was so good. She had an incredible 2021. And I hope that you all remember her when it comes to picking the best writer for a Hallmark in the Hallmarkies Awards.
Rachel is letting you know she's advocating for Tracy Andreen.
I love Nina. I do. I adore her. But Tracy deserves to win.
I agree, Rachel. I do. I
agree. So Jess, what is your number 3?
My number 3 was A Mrs. Miracle Christmas.
Thinking of Nina.
Yeah, there you go. So this is another obviously emotional, heavy one. But I just thought it was done in kind of a very fun way. I absolutely loved the dynamic of Mrs. Miracle and the grandma. Like, I think that was my favorite part. They just made the movie for me. And, just navigating some of those tougher topics, I thought they just did a really, nice job with it, and kind of having a little bit more of a spiritual element, not like super overt, but like that theme was also still in there.
Yeah. I mean, she's an angel.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It was good. They did a good job.
Yeah. And Steve Lund, he was really good in that.
So yes, he was so charming.
And what is your number 3?
My number 3 is A Dickens of a Holiday. As you guys, I really like this movie. I think Palaha kills it. He does 2 things in this movie that no Hallmark man in a Christmas movie has ever done. He does not wear a scarf, which he told us in our interview, and he wears shorts. So that is Hallmark history making Christmas movie stuff here. Okay. But I just think that him and Brooke have really great chemistry. I love the scene where she's like moving his face and his stature and like telling him like this is how Scrooge would be. It's like strangely intimate, but also showing how good of a director she is. And I just thought it was such a good movie. And I'm not like someone who's into like, like Rachel, I'm not into like, or don't take notice or the proper notice of like very good acting. I know that probably sounds weird. I'm just very surface level. I'm not super deep person. But at Palaha at the end, when he was doing those play scenes, I was like, he's obviously doing something right, because I feel like I'm about to cry. Like, I was emotional at him portraying Scrooge and doing those scenes. I was like, he is just wow. Like, he's just killing it, because I can feel something like in my heart by watching him, do those scenes. So I just thought it was so fun.
Yeah, and plus you get what was it called, like Turbo Justice or whatever? I can't remember the name.
Oh yeah, that was so funny. Like when he was like on top of the car and he's like got his head in the window, and then he's like, everyone wants him to say that line the whole movie.
Yeah.
It was like Fast and the Furious, like some kind of like trilogy of action something. And I had so much fun with it, and I love Brooke, and I thought she did a really good job in this movie.
Yeah, and her whole character arc of kind of figuring out this new dream that she hadn't even realized that she wanted to be in a director, but then she realizes, oh, I'm actually good at this. I always appreciate that in stories when because it's just so easy to do all your dreams will come true, kind of a thing, but to like realize, oh my gosh, this other thing that I hadn't even considered is actually maybe what I should be doing. I thought that was good in it as well. So very good. All right. Number 2 for me is The Christmas Promise. Yeah. We talked about it quite a bit, but I thought that scene with question marks and exclamation points was so great.
It was.
I mean, it's not even just kisses, but I think like so many things in life, like, is it an exclamation point or a question mark? Are you doing it kind of like, I'm not sure about this, or you're like, yes, I love this. This is so, and it makes such a difference as the whole experience. And either way is like bad, but it's just like kind of what's going on here. I thought that was so great. Well written, way to go. I thought they had really lovely chemistry. He's a classic man with many jobs, which I love. Kathy Close, she's just knocked it out of the park this last year. I would love to interview, but she's like, there's no like contact information for her on anything.
Recluse. Okay.
Yeah, but if anybody knows her, we would love to have her on, because she just did a great job this year with It Was Always You, and then with this. This I like even better than that, but those are 2 very solid movies. And and I liked Tori DeVito. I liked Dylan. It obviously had that emotion, but it wasn't like a heavy movie. I really liked the whole group of friends with Karen Holness and that whole group. Matthew James Dowden, who I love. That was well done. But really, that scene, like I said, exclamation point versus question mark was so good. So that's my number 2. What about you, Jess?
My number 2 was Sister Swap, A Hometown Holiday, which was the one following Kimberly's character. I just love the sister dynamic of it. Like, obviously Ashley and Kimberly together are going to be great in a movie. And even though I don't normally like a save the storyline, I thought this one was really well done. Like, I was interested. I enjoyed it. I thought she had good chemistry with Mark Declan. I don't know. I just thought it was like the quintessential Hallmark Christmas movie. Like, it was just kind of like the classic kind, but I just really loved it.
We had a lot of fun with Ashley and Mark on the podcast. So if y'all haven't listened to those episodes, they were really fun. So Anne, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Unexpected Christmas. I had a great time talking with Tyler for the first time on the podcast, which, made it even more fun. But I mean, everyone knows I love Bethany. I love Tyler. They have great chemistry. Like you guys said, the family is so fun, so likable. and they just have some like just nutty stuff in this movie. I doused my brother with water before to wake him up because I was the one who had to drive him to school every day. So when she did that to Tyler, I was busting out laughing. And it just has some very like funny things. Like she smacks the cookie out of his hand, and like it's just fun. I just love those two, and I was like, it's just a very fun movie. My only nitpick is actually the same as you, Rachel. I just feel like the ending and Tyler's arc is kind of rushed. And so that's why it's not my number one. But I had so much fun with this movie. I know people who don't like Hallmark who would like this movie. It's just a fun movie. And it's something kind of different. So I really liked it.
Yeah, it was really good. All right. Our number one picks. This is very exciting. My number one pick, I gave a perfect score to. I only gave 2 perfect scores all year. I gave one to her pen pal this summer, which
that was so good.
It was so good. So good.
And I gave one to A Kiss Before Christmas. It was so good. I loved it. And, you know, a lot of people might think, oh, it's just kind of the Family Man story, but I actually think this is better than Family Man, because the problem with Family Man is that in that case, he gets given a family that he didn't have, right? He gets to see if he'd chosen the family path, what it would be like, but that's not real. And so like the ending, you're like, they're all gone. Whereas in this case, he chose the family, and then he got to see what it would be like if he didn't pick the family. And so the family was taken, not given. And so that was such a better wrinkle on this whole thing. And I thought, like, every time he saw his kids, and that was such a brilliant move to have them be adopted so that they could put that in the story. So smart. And him and James Denton and Terry Hatcher, incredible chemistry. I really just loved it. I thought it was so engaging, and I liked the conflict, and I liked Mary Lou Henner, of course, incredible. And so, I thought it was so good.
Very good. The talking coffee machine, that was
good.
A nice extra touch. I thought it was hilarious.
That was really funny. That was really good. It was so well done, and it was my favorite. So, what is your number one, Jess?
My number one was Next Stop Christmas. I just absolutely loved this one. I thought it was so funny. I loved Lindsay. I thought the energy she brought to the role is what made it so good, and made it really work. And I just liked that it was kind of different and quirky. And it also had the more emotional aspects too, like with her repairing her relationship with her sister, and the parents kind of finding their way back to each other and stuff. And Christopher Lloyd was like awesome. I loved him as well. I mean, honestly, if they had just tweaked the ending of this movie a little bit, it would have been a perfect movie for me.
Yeah, honestly, the ending is like the thing that's like, this is just not what
I was just confused on how he knew everything and she didn't remember anything. So I thought that didn't make sense. But I showed this movie to my friend who does not like Hallmark, and she even enjoyed it. So I'm like, I know I picked a good one.
You definitely
a good test.
You can't. I hate the phrase "turn off your brain." I hate that phrase, but you maybe do a little bit in this movie. You can't think about it too much, because I mean, and that's the case with all time travel. Right. The more you think about it, I said on the podcast that you kind of have to treat this like Doctor Who. And in Doctor Who, they're like going all over the timeline. They're changing things every episode, and they don't care. They never account for it. It doesn't matter. And that's what you have to do with this. This is like Hallmark's Doctor Who. So it's a good pick. Yeah. All right, Anne, what's your number one?
Okay. My number one is The Santa Stakeout.
Yeah.
I love this movie. There is not one thing I would change about this movie. I think this movie is perfect. That's not something that I say a lot. Every other movie on this list, I would change something about. This movie, nothing. I think this movie is gold. It's different. It's so funny. I just think it's hilarious. I was just laughing so much that I had such a good time watching it, that I literally watched it the next day to make sure like I wasn't a lunatic, that I like this movie so much. And that's not something I do. I usually wait 6 months or a year to rewatch something. I just like to really get into it. I can't just rewatch something like so many times. I'm just not like that. So when I did that, I knew I loved this movie. I think they have good chemistry. I think what's his name, Talbot, is funny. I really want to have a hot cocoa flight like in my life. Like one day I was like, why don't I know this exists? Because it's like perfection. Because I don't care about like alcohol flights or whatever, but hot cocoa flight, you got me with like this much hot cocoa in each cup. Yeah. You'll be so sick, but it's just such a fun movie. I was just, the experience watching it was just, it just made it number one.
Yeah.
It was so fun.
It's so good.
It's so different than anything that they ever done before, ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I think we have a really good list. Let's each go over our list real quick. So for me, I have A Royal Queen's Christmas at 10, Sugar Plum Twist at 9, It's Christmas Sale at 8, Santa Stakeout at 7, A Dickens of a Holiday at 6, An Unexpected Christmas at 5, 'Tis the Season to Be Merry at 4, A Very Merry Bridesmaid at 3, The Christmas Promise at 2, and A Kiss Before Christmas at 1. So there we go. Jess, what is your 10?
All right, mine was 'Tis the Season to Be Merry at 10, Time for Them to Come Home for Christmas at 9, Santa Stakeout at 8, Christmas in My Heart at 7, A Godwin Christmas at 6, Dickens of a Holiday at 5, Christmas Promise at 4, Mrs. Miracle Christmas at 3, Sister Swap, Hometown Holiday at 2, and Next Stop Christmas at number 1.
Very good picks. And Anne?
Number 10, A Royal Queen's Christmas. Number 9, Christmas Promise. Number 8, Christmas in My Heart. Number 7, Kiss Before Christmas. Number 6, Holiday in Harlem. Number 5, One December Night. Number 4, Next Stop Christmas. Number 3, Dickens of a Holiday. Number 2, Unexpected Christmas. Number 1, Santa Stakeout.
Very good. So let us know if you're listening what your list would be. We'd love to hear what you think of our picks. And I'm not mad about any of those selections. I think those are all good movies. I enjoyed them all. And so, yeah, let us know what you think. And please like this video. Please subscribe to the channel if you'll see on YouTube. If you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. We really appreciate that so much. Make sure you're following us at Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media. And Jess, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at JessVSWblog.
Great. And Anne?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at AWScott21.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. And we'd like to definitely thank everybody who helped us out with the podcast this season, all of the guests, co-hosts that we had, so many, the doing previews and recaps and then all the interviews. Incredible. So thank you so much to everybody, and we will wish you one last Merry Christmas. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.